If it wasn't for copywriting, this guy would have lived like a slave in prison. If it wasn't for copywriting, this guy would have not been granted a parole, all thanks to copywriting. So I'm going to tell you a story about this guy who got arrested and used copywriting, but he was not aware that he was using copywriting to survive in prison. But copywriting helped him survive in prison. So the story of this guy goes like this. So this guy was a criminal, and he was a good person before he became a criminal. But the thing that led him to become a criminal is that he mingled with wrong friends, and he found it hard to pull back from this notorious pack of friends, because they've already told him all the internal dirty techniques that they are using to operate their criminal activities around the neighborhood. So this guy was afraid for his life that if he pulled out from this notorious pack of hooligans and they happen to get arrested, he will be the first one to be suspected. So he found it hard to pull out. So he continued with them up until he got arrested. Let me tell you a story how he got arrested and how he used copywriting to survive in prison, which also led him to gain or get a parole. Okay, so this guy with his friends, their niche of crime is that they were hijacking taxis that are transporting passengers. So they were targeting taxis that are traveling long distances, you see. So here's how they do their crime. So they target a taxi rank. When they arrive there in that particular taxi rank, they look for a taxi that is about to take a long distance trip, you see. So they become the first one to occupy it. So the first guy, so they are working in a group of 4. So the first guy sits at the next to the driver, and the 2 guys sit at the back seat, and the 1 guy sits at the middle of the taxi. Then other passengers come in and everybody pays, you see. So they do their crime. So their intention is to hijack the driver, the cash up money, this money that the passengers are paying to this taxi driver, you see. So before they go to do crime to a certain taxi, you see, they do research in advance about the final destination of the taxi. Then after the taxi has reached its final destination, then they start doing their stuff, hijacking the taxi driver. So everybody pays, including them. They pay, they give the money to the driver, and then the taxi leaves the taxi rank. And then along the way, people are disembarking up until they are the last one to remain. Then after when they are the last one to remain, they ask the taxi driver to leave them somewhere, of which is next to the other taxi rank that this taxi is going to. The taxi driver refused, even though this guy promised to pay this taxi driver an extra money, but the taxi driver refused. And then there was a commotion, and the taxi driver lost it by switching off the taxi. And then when the taxi driver switched off his taxi, then the 2 guys disembarked. The other one stood at the sliding door of the taxi. The other one went on the other side to the driver's door, you see. And then the one who is sitting at the front seat is busy disturbing the driver, you see. So everybody pulled out the guns and they pointed the taxi driver. Fortunately, there's a car that passed by which observed the scene, and there were police officers around that area, because within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they instantly arrived to the scene. And that's how this guy and his friends, they got arrested, right? And then when this guy arrived in jail, the prisoners asked, "What did you bring for us?" This guy said, "Nothing." the prisoners got so angry. How could you come here and bring us nothing? So they started asking him questions. They asked him where does he stay. So I won't mention the name, where does this guy stay. And then they asked him about the notorious hooligans who are also living around this guy's neighborhood. You see, they asked him whether he know them or he doesn't know them. But skillfully, this guy realized that if he agreed that he knows these hooligans, that thing may help him protect him in jail. So he agreed to know these guys. So from there, these prisoners, they started to respect this guy. These prisoners started to protect this guy because he is associated with this hooligan who is outside that they respect. So the thing that made this guy survive in prison, it's because he's associated with another hooligan that these prisoners respect. So how does that has to do with copywriting? You may be watching this video, you are a freelance copywriter, you are seeking clients, or you want to charge more, you want to get more leads. The thing that you can do, maybe one of the strategies that you can implement, to grow your brand, is to use this thing called brand with association. It's the same technique that companies like Nike, like Adidas use to get more sales. What do? They take their t-shirts and put them and associate them to celebrities like Cristiano Ronaldo. Because if people see these t-shirts worn by famous people like Cristiano Ronaldo, then they assume that they are more valuable. They assume that they are good, and Nike generates more sales. So if you are a copywriter, maybe you are communicating with a certain potential copywriting client. Let's say maybe you have been a student for Justin Goff and Stephen George, who are the co-founders of Copy Accelerator. Let's say maybe you have been a student of Gary Halbert. Let's say maybe you have been a student of Dan Kennedy. Mention that during the conversation with your prospect. That can somehow boost, that can somehow improve your credibility. Why? It's just that you just put your name to somebody who is already having an authority, who is already having a credibility in the copywriting market. So that's what the moral of the story. That's the moral of the story. Put yourself, put your name next to people who have got credibility, who have got authority that can somehow boost your credibility. Yeah, that's it. By the way, I work as a copywriter. So if you are looking for a copywriter to write you copy that will sell your products or services that you are selling, don't hesitate to send me an email at sbo@sbotango.com. You heard it right, sbo@sbotango.com. Then you take it from there. By the way, if you learned one or two things out of this video, please ensure you press the like button as well as the subscription button, as well as the notification bell. Why? So that you can be notified when I've uploaded another video that is going to make you a better copywriter tomorrow. Take care, have a nice day. See you on the next video.